All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a seriously fascinating journey to decode the mysteries of India's most enigmatic and arguably most powerful spiritual site, the Kamakhya Temple. It's widely revered as the ultimate Shakti Peeth. Now, there's said to be 30 deeply layered secrets surrounding this place, but today we're going to break down the absolute most mind-bending ones. We're talking ancient mythology, cutting-edge geology, and some pretty intense esoteric practices. By the time we wrap up, you'll have a rock-solid understanding of why this isn't just a pile of ancient stones, but literally a living, breathing phenomenon.
Okay, let's dive into this by starting with the most famous, undeniable physical anomaly of the temple. Just imagine a mighty river flowing totally normally all year round. And then, for exactly 3 days, every single June, the waters of the nearby Brahmaputra River take on this vivid, blood-red hue. It happens on the exact same dates, without fail. Honestly, to understand why this happens, we first have to understand what this temple actually worships.
And that brings us to the concept of Ambubachi. You see, unlike almost any other temple in India, the divine isn't worshipped here as some static, serene figure. Not at all. Kamakhya celebrates the ultimate source of universal creation, the natural biological process of birth itself. Ambubachi is this annual 3-day period where the goddess is believed to undergo her menstruation cycle. It's viewed as a time of profound cosmic rest, basically a massive energy reset for the earth.
Section 1. The Yoni Peeth Mystery. To truly grasp how deep this goes, you have to know that inside the inner sanctum of Kamakhya, there is actually no idol. Instead, you descend 40 to 50 steep, dark stairs into this subterranean cave to reach a natural cleft-shaped stone known as the Yoni Peeth. And this brilliantly illustrates the divide between science and faith. The stone is always wet. Now, geologists suspect an underground stream maintains the constant flow and temperature, right? But here's the kicker. Despite extensive digging and mapping, they haven't been able to locate a source. None. Meanwhile, locals firmly believe this isn't ordinary water at all. They see it as the infinite divine nectar of the goddess herself.
Let me tell you, when you step into the space, the sensory experience is completely overwhelming. The air is incredibly thick with the heavy scent of burning ghee. The walls are damp, and visitors consistently report feeling this profound energetic weight pressing down on them. It's basically an environment designed to force you to physically, mentally, and spiritually descend right into the very core of the Earth's creative power.
Section 2. Ambubachi, the menstruating goddess.
So, what actually happens to the energy during those specific days in June? Well, during Ambubachi, a massive 3-day energy reset kicks in. The temple shuts down completely, the doors are totally sealed. The ringing of bells stops entirely. All the lamps are extinguished, leaving the sanctum in pitch black so the goddess can rest undisturbed. But here is the most captivating detail. Right before closing the doors, the priests lay down a pure, crisp white cloth. 3 days later, when they finally open those doors again, that exact cloth is found completely wet and blood red. This cloth is known as the Ambubachi Vastra, and it's distributed afterward as an incredibly revered offering.
Which brings us right back to that red river. Now, the scientific community points out that the monsoon rains wash iron, cinnabar minerals, and red soil straight into the water. Fair enough, right? But actually, that explanation has a pretty big gap. Monsoons and mineral washes happen all season long, yet the river only turns red during these precise 3 days. For tantric practitioners and devotees, the answer is a lot simpler. To them, the river is the literal, physical manifestation of the goddess's holy cycle out in the environment.
Section 3. Mythological Curses of Kamakhya. Let's move to and see how this builds into the darker history of a site, because Kamakhya is shrouded in some incredibly intense legends. Take the story of demon king Narakasur. It's basically an ancient thriller. Arrogant and powerful, Narakasur straight up demanded to marry the goddess. But instead of a flat refusal, she gave him a challenge. Build a stone staircase from the very bottom of the Nilachal mountain all the way to the peak in a single night. Crazy, right? Well, by midnight, using his massive demon army, he was actually pulling it off. But just before dawn, realizing he might actually win, the goddess tricked a rooster into crowing early. Thinking the sun had risen and his time was up, Narakasur abandoned the project in a blind rage. And the wildest part? Those unfinished stairs still exist today. Then we have a much more chilling tale.
King Narayan was this great patron of the temple. His head priest, a man named Kendu Kalai, was said to be so insanely devoted that the goddess would physically manifest and dance for him during his private evening rituals. Well, driven by curiosity and a bit of ego, the king decided to secretly spy on this ritual through a hole in the wall. Big mistake. The goddess immediately sensed the deceit. As punishment, she allegedly either beheaded Kendu Kalai or turned him to stone, and she laid a heavy curse on the king. To this very day, the descendants of King Narayan's royal lineage are strictly forbidden from even laying eyes on the temple. They literally have to use umbrellas to shield their view if they ever happen to pass by.
Section 4. The Supreme Tantric Center.
These stories of fierce, untamed power really help explain why Kamakhya isn't just your standard place of worship. It's widely considered the undisputed global headquarters for Vamatar Tantrics and Agoris, and a massive reason for that can be summed up with just one number: 10. In Hindu tradition, there are 10 Mahavidyas, essentially the 10 great wisdom goddesses that represent different intense aspects of cosmic energy. Kamakhya is the only place on Earth where all 10 of these forces are believed to reside entirely in their active, awakened states. When you combine those 10 active goddesses with an invisible energy field of 64 yoginis, you get an absolute spiritual high-frequency zone. In fact, the entire South Kamrup region is recognized as the oldest Shakti Tantra pool in existence. During Ambubachi, thousands of Agoris flock here because it's believed that spiritual desires and manifestations just happen faster here than anywhere else on the planet. It is also the exclusive source of Kamakhya Sindoor, which is a special, naturally occurring red powder scraped right from the temple rocks. It's incredibly sought after worldwide for extreme protection and manifestation rituals. But holding that kind of intense energy requires maintenance, and that brings us to a controversial yet deeply rooted practice. Every single morning, an unbroken ritual takes place in a specific room called the Baligar. Step 1 is the sacrifice of a strictly male animal, usually a goat, buffalo, or a pigeon. According to tantric tradition, the goddess absorbs this immense, fierce masculine energy, and the sacrifice acts as a necessary energetic counterbalance. Only after step 1 is complete can step 2 happen, which is opening the main temple doors to the public. Visitors often say that the air inside this Baligar feels physically heavy, like it's vibrating with an unseen weight. Now, while animal sacrifice is open and on a strict schedule, history definitely mentions much darker practices, like human sacrifice. While historians claim this ended centuries ago, we do have to look at modern reality. In 2019, a truly shocking and tragic incident occurred. A 66-year-old woman was found beheaded right on the temple stairs. The police investigation revealed that she had been lured into a secret, extreme tantric ritual involving meat, alcohol, and ancient mantras. It's a stark objective reminder that while the temple is a place of profound, genuine faith for millions, there are still extreme rogue cult practices operating in the shadows. Section 5. A living energy gateway. So, the crucial point is, how do we make sense of all of this? The unending water, the physical heaviness in the air, the extreme rituals? I want you to really absorb this quote from a senior sadhu at the temple. He said, Kamakhya Temple breathes. It pulls energy in and throws it out. It is a living being, not stone. For thousands of years, devotees have been saying that this site isn't just architecture. It's an active, pulsing entity. But what happens when we look at that specific claim through the lens of modern science? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how modern geology actually backs up those ancient spiritual claims. The Nilachal Mountain, where the temple is perched, is a massive magnetic hotspot. Geological surveys have shown incredibly high concentrations of quartz crystals deep beneath the surface, and the unique soil composition naturally generates its own electromagnetic currents. In fact, when researchers measured electromagnetic pulses inside the inner sanctum, they found them to be completely unstable and constantly fluctuating, literally pulsing, almost like a heartbeat. The mountain is physically altering Earth's frequencies.
Which leaves us with one final, massive question. Is Kamakhya just an ancient temple with some fascinating myths attached to it, or are we literally looking at humanity's oldest active energy portal? A place where the Earth's natural electromagnetic forces just perfectly align to create a high-frequency gateway. Whether you choose to view it through the lens of geology, esoteric tantra, or just pure devotion, the data and the history tell us one thing for sure. Kamakhya is entirely unique on this planet. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep questioning the world around you and never, ever stop exploring the mysteries out there.